All right, welcome to a historic special episode, episode 50 of Angel in the Afternoon, which I
Woo.
never thought I would get here because, I've taken so many breaks and I've given up on this show, coming back to it. So, yeah, we're finally on episode 50. I think my first episode was 2 years ago or something. I should have checked this before actually. Before I actually went live, but I didn't. But yeah, I'm pretty sure our first episode was last year and early last year. And today we have a couple of guests here, as you can see. We have Miss Witchy Perfect, my co-host in Pro
Pro
Wrestling Talk.
wrestling talk.
Sorry,
It's
I
okay.
went blank. In Pro Wrestling Talk, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, we'll be discussing, if you're interested in this, the Montreal Screwjob. So
Yes.
check that out with Kit Cabello of Heartlands Media, by the way. So that's
Yes.
too, which is
I'm very excited for that.
Nice. Let's go.
and my guest on the bottom there is D of the Deconstructing Podcast.
Woo! Let's go. Thank you for having me here. Lots to talk about.
Yep, there's a lot to talk about. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my first episode was over a year ago, so pretty excited about that. So I'm glad to be, episode 50. We'll have 50 more episodes to get to 100. Oh, by the way, please subscribe to the channels. All those links in the description box below. So make sure you subscribe to the channels, and I think we'll get started because we have a lot to get to and so little time. So, as everybody knows, Israel and Iran are pretty much close to war, and at this point, and I it's been last couple of weeks I haven't really done the show because I've been focused on wrestling, and so a lot of this went over my head until I had to look into it. What happened was this is Israel attacked Iran first, which is what nobody tells you. No one
Right.
tells you Israel attacked Iran
Israel.
first. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Yeah,
An
that's
Right.
butchered.
interesting combination there.
Right.
Yeah, I said both. Israel. I said
It's
both.
beyond.
I love it.
Yeah, Israel attacked Iran first, their embassy in Damascus, which is the capital of Syria, and they attacked first, which the media won't tell you. Instead, they'll tell you how big bad Iran responded to. It's just the word responded. They responded to Israel's attack by an attack, let's say, quote unquote, by because ultimately they did attack, but they gave like 3 days notice. They called Israel, they called the United States, hey, we're attacking you at this time and at this place, so please don't let our missiles and drones hit. And of course, some of their missiles and drones hit because the Iron Dome is pretty much useless. But we'll get to all that. We'll get deeper into that in a moment. And then Israel, after a week, because the Biden administration begged and pleaded, don't attack Iran again. Let's just end this here before we get into a wider war. And Netanyahu was like, fuck off. I mean, I'm going to attack him again. I want a wider war with Iran. So he
Right.
attacks him again. Quite frankly, the Iranians are like, what attack? They didn't do anything to us. And they swear they didn't do anything to us. And in fact, they're making fun of Israel for their attack. So we'll get to all that in a moment. But tell me what you guys think. I mean, I went long-winded there, but go ahead.
I think that Israel has bitten off more they can chew. They,
Mm.
in my opinion, because of the whole Gaza thing, they literally have become the Nazis that they once fought against.
Yep.
And I mean, they've been doing it. The thing is, the history doesn't start at October 7th. If you actually
No.
go back through the history, and I've seen the movie, even though it's pro Israel, if you guys want to check it out, it's called Cast the Giant Shadow. And it has my favorite actor in it, who is Yul Brynner. He
Mm.
actually plays a Jew. And then it also has, oh shoot, not Michael Douglas, Kirk Douglas in it. He's the main
Oh,
character. And it's basically about 1948 when
Mm-hmm.
literally Israel and the Arabs were at war. And even if you see it from that perspective, um, it's still, they were still killing those people so they could make Israel. So they were
Yeah.
literally taking other people's lands and killing them so that they could create their country of Israel. Or sorry, they were deleting them. Sorry. I keep forgetting. We're also on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube policies.
So the thing is, I mean, go see the movie, but if you want to know, the history didn't start at October 7th. It literally started way before that, back in 1948, when the United States helped, Israel. That was Kirk Douglas. He was a World War II veteran, and he actually went over and helped Israel get the Jews. They were helping them get a war plan, and basically, his character helped them get to where it is and become Israel. So again, if you look at the history, then you will see that was actually pro-Israel because it was from a pro-Israel side, you know. But I mean, if you look at it from my perspective of, oh my gosh, they went over and they deleted a bunch of Arabs so they could create that nation. So a lot of people don't understand. They're just like, well, how could Hamas do this? And I go back to Scott Ritter. Hamas did this because they wanted people to see what Israel was all about. Israel has become the tyrants they once fought against. And guess what, guys? The Nazis were not Muslim. They were not Muslims. They were not Arabs. They were literally Christians killing Jews, deleting Jews. So again, there's a bunch of Christians who are like, yeah, we must stand up for the Jews. And then you're looking for a place to stick a knife. Did you guys forget that literally the Nazis were not Islam? They were not Muslims. They were Christians who hated the Jews. That's the history. It's like people forget that. They literally just draw a blank and just go, oh, October 7th. And I'm like, what about before that?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. That was a good one. I'm gonna say I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Now I know that we use the term Christians here a lot, but my understanding is that the Nazis got a lot of help from the Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
The church.
So it's so
yeah. Oh, you're breaking up.
Yeah, we're kind of losing you there.
Well, froze.
Yeah, we kind of lost you, D. I'm not sure.
No.
Okay, he'll come back.
But he's correct. Yes, it was Christians, and yes, they did kill other Christians, the Nazis. But and for a good movie reference for that, I referenced Swing Kids. Swing Kids is a really good movie for what happened during the whole Nazi regime in Germany. One of my favorite people plays in that, Christian Bale. He plays the guy that turns to the Nazis. The cripple self-deletes himself, and then the other guy just turns into one that won't conform. He won't become a Nazi. So
those are both, good choices for movies.
I'm back.
It's debatable.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. You were like breaking up there. I was
I mean, it's my ISP, my internet service provider. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, go ahead. Go ahead. You finish your point.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to say in regards to that situation specifically.
Definitely.
I think I'm going to do a podcast on that because I think a lot of people tend to forget that there's a difference between Roman Catholic and Christian.
Right.
So,
well, and they killed their own. They Catholics killed Protestants, the Protestants killed Catholics.
Right.
I mean, they can't even, agree on their own bullshit, to be honest with you.
So if the Nazis was doing something on the behalf of the church, it was more of the Roman Catholic Church, more than anything, not God or anything, or Jesus.
And the Roman Catholic Church helped Nazis escape after the war. It was pretty much recorded.
Yeah.
The Roman Catholic Church, or the Catholic Church in Rome, helped them escape. They are openly like, oh yeah, I mean, they've supported the Nazi Party.
Right.
All right, so let's see who's in the chat. Thank you, PC John Wick. Welcome. Let's see. Thinking when young Morpheus welcome. And yes, the Nazis, David, were definitely Christian. I
Yeah,
mean,
they were definitely Christian.
their whole philosophy came from the Bible. That's how they
Right.
justified
Right.
their
And
atrocities.
then when they were on trial, they said, "Oh, where did you?" The Americans asked them, "Where did you get all that stuff?" Well, we watched you and how you handled the Native Americans.
Right.
So that's
Hmm.
the big thing. But yeah, like, and again, I am Wiccan and I was ex-Christian. I don't know if the rest of you are Christian. I'm not trying to put
Hmm.
Christians down, but along with the Jews, you guys have had a long period of just self-deletion and deletion and deleting other faiths. And I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of people come out and say, well, you shouldn't believe how you should believe because if you believe this, then you don't know how to love, you don't know how to care. That's not true. And saying that, literally, you're trying to dehumanize me. And this person couldn't get it. They're like, no, you have to, you're not on the right path. I'm like, excuse me, who are you to tell me that I'm on the right path? But anyway, let's
Well,
get back to
yeah, that's
Yeah, it's a
because
definitely a good combo.
the Bible says that the only way you can love and you can respect is through the Bible. So in other
right.
words, being a Christian or a Jew.
Mhm.
So, but yeah,
And
let me
yet I would say
see.
I act more like Jesus than most Christians. And I'm Wiccan.
I would
I
agree.
So
mean,
No,
there's a
you'd be
lot.
surprised. Yes.
Yeah. PC John Wick says they also copy eugenics off of us. Yeah. Back in the early
yeah.
1900s, there was eugenics laws here in the United States. You know, we would basically, basically do eugenics. You know, the white race is the best race. You know, let's get rid
Hmm.
of the browns and the blacks. You know, they would use the N word, I'm sure, in the early 20th century. But yeah, let's get rid of all of them. You know, so the Nazis copied a lot from early 20th century America,
America,
which is
yeah.
and they also copied a lot from the Turks. Remember, the Turks did the genocide of the Armenians, or the attempted genocide
Right.
of the
Yes. Yeah.
Armenians in the beginning of the 20th century. And they were like, well, nobody cared about the Armenians. Why would you care about the Jews? So that's why they did the genocide of the Jews, or attempted
Right.
genocide.
Well, and now, like I said, Israel must have picked that up somehow, and they feel like the victims. They're still acting like the victims, but yet they're
Yeah,
doing exactly what the Nazis did to the people in Gaza. And as a
yeah. So,
mother,
hmm
this breaks my heart. I can't even look at the images on X. I have to go through them, or like I start bawling. I'm a woman. I can't help it. I'm a mother. I know what
yeah.
it's like to have a son. I to have a child.
The
And I can't
images,
imagine what that would be like to lose him.
yeah. And
Imagine what
I
those
love.
parents are going through.
I've studied with great interest the laws of several American states concerning prevention of reproduction. This is a quote from Hitler. Yeah, I mean Hitler, like
He
he
he grew
loved
up Roman Catholic, didn't he?
yeah,
I
get rid
think
of
he
that.
was a
And then
Catholic, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I
And
mean it.
when someone told, I don't remember who told me this, but when the Nazis would swear an allegiance to the Nazis, you literally said God in there, mit Gott, which
Hmm.
is with God in
Yeah,
German.
that's how they justified their atrocities. Just like
Right.
the U.S. using a lot of U.S. context, and they also used the Turks genocide
Hmm.
of the Armenians, they also the Turks called themselves the Young Turks then, which is again referencing Cenk Uyghur's Young Turks, because
Young turds.
Right.
he denied the Armenian genocide for decades. So
For
it's like
decades, right.
yeah,
And they were saying Anna Kasparian did, but she went on there and said, "I have never
I
denied
don't.
it."
To be fair, she hasn't.
No,
She hasn't. And
she never has.
she's worked for Cenk Uyghur for decades.
Hmm.
That's why people assume that she agrees with Cenk's views on the Armenian genocide. And the only reason why he said, "Oh well," and now I recognize it. If you remember, he's running for Congress at the time, and he had to say it, or else then he wouldn't get elected. He still didn't get elected, but that's the only reason why he did it.
Right. And I want to throw this because I know we were talking about Iran and the situation that happened, Israel bombing the embassy. So, there's a lot of people that unfortunately they consume the mainstream, the
Hmm.
CNNs, the
Hmm.
Fox, whatever. And then if you look at the headline, it's Iran attacked.
Yeah.
But then somewhere you have, people gravitate to headlines. Somewhere in
Hmm.
there, they might mention
Towards the bottom.
Israel, right. So
Hmm.
It's usually towards the bottom of the piece to element. Oh yeah, by
right.
the way, Israel attacked first, but yeah, just don't. We hope we don't read the bottom part of the article.
And then I did tell, and that's one of the reasons why I started my podcast to educate people on certain things that they don't know about. And one of the things is like when people reach out to me, like, "Oh, what you think?" I mean, all I said to people is that Israel bombed the embassy first, and Iran just retaliated. That's all. I mean, that's all. That's all you need to know about that story.
Yeah, this is the irony here. Hitler
Right?
was 1/4 Jewish.
I
See
also
again,
heard he was gay too.
yeah, allegedly he was gay. I don't know how true
Allegedly
that
he was
is.
gay.
Right.
Yeah.
But I disagree with you, global solidarity. Satan was made up and it was taken from the pagans. They took our god Pan and made him an evil creature and then called him Satan. So, I mean, if that's the story of Satan, great. But I mean, Satan came from early paganism and it was our god Pan. So,
Hey.
that's where the evil creature, because they wanted to convert early pagans and those they couldn't convert, they deleted. So, trust me, I know that history like the back of my hand. Oh, and what's funny is you see a lot of paganism in Christianity nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christianity's borrowed a lot from paganism. So yeah, let's start because Netanyahu is completely psychotic. So he believes in his doctrines. So this is him in 2018. He was the one that pushed the Bush administration to invade Iraq, and I don't know where that went. So here we go. Having issues here. Okay, well we're good.
Thank you,
So
Kill.
let's
Your
watch Netanyahu. Let's watch Netanyahu try to convince the U.S. Let's invade. Go ahead and invade Iraq for us, because he wanted to invade Iraq back in
Yeah.
2002.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. And I think that people sitting right next door in Iran, young people, and many others will say, the time of such regimes, of such despots, is gone. There is a new age. Something new is happening.
He was fear mongering about Iran even 20 years ago. It's like, oh yeah, invade Iraq for us because we want to invade Iraq, but we don't have the money or we don't want to spend the money. So here,
no
United
offense,
States,
he has a
invade
punchable
Iraq.
face.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just want to go boom like that, like boom.
Oops.
Stop being an idiot. I'm
Wow.
sorry. He has a very punchable face. Like, boom,
Yeah, I
boom,
mean,
boom,
Netanyahu has been using the United States as his own personal military for decades. He's been around since what, the 80s when he first started in politics, and now he's been the prime minister for what, 20 plus years now. And then they talk about how he's the only Israel's only democracy in the Middle East, which is a joke because it really isn't.
But PC John Wick, why do you think they do that? Again, this goes back to the history of Iran. Who invaded and who couped Iran in 1953? The United States. So again, Iran had a democratic leader that was democratically elected. And again, if you know the history, again, yeah, Iran burns our flags and blah, blah, blah. We've been literally poking a bear since 1953, and for good reason. Not for us, but Iran has a good reason to hate America. Literally, we overthrew their government in 1953. That is part of the freaking history lesson that I was talking about earlier that people need to wake up and realize. This stuff didn't start just now or start 10 years ago. It started in 1953 when we couped their government. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about that. Learn history, please.
No, I mean, people run.
Yeah, because if you don't know your history, the white man will create it for you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I use those terms.
Yeah. So if you haven't already, please give me a like. It helps with the stream. So
Hi, Grape.
thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh yeah, let's do
these
it.
are some memes that Iran put out making fun of Israel. So
oh God,
this is the first one. This is the Iranian response here on the left, and this is the Israeli response. Little drone there.
Mhm.
So Iranians making themselves like badasses with their missiles, and it's like, oh yeah, the Israeli response, we didn't even see it. And this is a little video here that they put out.
It
Oops.
looks like kids.
That's the Iranian response. There you go. All right, we started from the beginning. That's the Iranian response. Badass music. Israel's response.
It's drone home. It's a red
Oh, geez,
outer
really?
launch your
That's
Wow.
Israel's response.
Sorry.
They're trolling
They
them.
stuck out like a little kid thing in there.
Wow.
Yeah, they
Amazing.
trolling
Play
them.
with your at-home drones,
Wow.
kids.
Yeah, they were straight up trolling them.
Yeah, put the internet
geez.
down, Iran. Put the internet down. Relax. Yo,
Yeah, really.
it's
Sorry
nice
about the
brother.
loud video. I didn't realize it was that loud. So, like,
And just be careful for copyright reasons.
Mhm.
well, yeah. I mean, I didn't. It wasn't a long video, which is why I ended up playing it. But
Okay.
yeah, I
No,
mean,
that was
so
good. It just I laugh at that they had they trolled them at the end with that little
yeah,
what the what?
it just straight up just trolled them.
Hey,
know what?
get your son a at-home drone.
Because the Iranians didn't even see the attack. They're like, "What attack? We didn't get attacked." Hello, Mastermind. Thank you for joining
Hey,
us.
Mastermind.
Make
Good to
sure you
see
give
What's
us a like
going
too.
on? Woo.
Then yeah, I mean, they were just straight up trolling them. It's like, oh come on. I mean, they're good trolls. It's like because they didn't even see the attack. They were like, "What attack? We didn't get attacked." In the
Right.
United States, oh yes, you did. You got attacked. It's like, no, we didn't. What are you talking about? Like, how do you not? I mean, we didn't get attacked. And it's like, oh, you
It's
didn't
like
get
they went,
attacked.
get off me.
So I'm not gonna play this, but this is Bernie Sanders. Virtue signaling as he usually does.
Ugh,
While we work to
God.
prevent further escalation between Israel and Iran, we cannot lose sight of the unprecedented humanitarian disaster taking place in Gaza. We must not look away. Except I won't do anything because I'm
Right.
just the
Because
Biden
he-
administration hack.
Right.
Joe Biden.
Yeah,
That's
tell
what he
Joe
does
Biden.
to Joe
Yeah, right.
Biden.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play that video because it's the same shit from Bernie
Right.
every single
Not unless
time.
you want us
It's
to spec or punch our screens.
like-
That cuck. He's such
Yeah,
a
it's just-
bootlicker.
Oh, big time.
bizarre.
I was so wrong about him. And
No, I was
AOC,
too.
I was on board. I was like, oh, can we have Omar, on in Pennsylvania instead of Minnesota? And I was so wrong about all of them. I'm just like,
No,
ugh, I'm so
yeah,
glad you are in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's just all rip-offs, and they're all just horrible people. It's all,
Let me tell you, I took some flack, when back then when Bernie and AOC was a thing. I was the
Mhm.
first one to call on them plans. They plans. They it's so obvious, you know what I mean? And I took
Mhm.
some flack. People was attacking me
Yeah.
because AOC represents my district, so I could talk smack. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm not on that on that bandwagon of attacking the young lady,
Yeah,
but I'm
because-
like,
Yeah, but she deserves it.
I mean, no, she's a plant. I think she's a plant. I think she
Yeah.
was just created. And I always tell people, look, United States had this with the School of Americas, where they built these presidents in other countries or dictators or
Mhm.
something like that. And I say we have the same plant here too, building domestic people from the ground, building them, not building them, but basically creating them, and then shoving them in your face. Oh, look, she's Latina. She's this. She's that. No, she's not. She's not even representing my best interest. She voted for the IM, though, if I'm not mistaken.
She voted
Right.
present, I believe. That was the
Yeah.
whole thing where Nancy Pelosi
She
made her
was crying.
cry.
Right, made
Yeah.
her cry and told her if you don't vote present and change your vote from no to present,
Right.
you're out of the club. Because
We're
she's
gonna
rich
end your
now.
political career.
I mean,
and
she was
They were
always
like-
rich. People
Yeah.
said she owned the bar, so she was probably always rich, and now she's
Right.
become richer and she's become in the club. Remember what
Uh,
George Carlin said: "It's a big club, guys. We ain't
Oh
in it."
yeah, right.
PC John Wick has a question for us. Do you support
Yes.
Israel or Palestine? I support Palestine.
I support Palestine. Stop the deleting in Gaza.
Right.
I'm a mother, guys. I've seen those pictures. But
Well, I
do
think
you condemn Hamas? I can't do the
right,
accent. I'm sorry.
and that's my thing too. And I always say this that's
Uh,
my thing too. They supposedly going
Yes,
after
go ahead.
Hamas, but they basically taking out the rest of the Palestinians. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is the country, right? Israel, the Jewish, whatever.
Mhm.
They the ones that after World War II they could pinpoint a Nazi from another country. They went to look for them, whatever. Even if they were 90, 100, they'll find them. So they were supposed to be intelligent, and then so what I mean if they knew 10 Hamas attacked them, they could have went after those 10 and not
Mhm.
wiped everybody out. But hey, you know,
Yeah.
Yes, free Julian Assange as well.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. That dude,
100%.
and
No,
people are
yeah.
like, "Oh, he's a traitor." A traitor to who? He's not an American citizen.
No, he isn't. That makes no sense. It's like he's an Australian citizen.
Yeah.
And real quick, Australia finally like, oh yeah, United States, can you please
Can we
release
have that
Julian
back?
Assange?
Yeah, he's kind of ours.
It's like, oh,
What
no,
took you
not
so
really.
damn long? Come on.
No,
right.
no, we're still not done torturing and trying to kill Assange. So you're gonna
Apparently,
have to,
yeah, and
you have to
and
wait
like
a
I
little
said,
longer.
if they get him here, he's as good as gone.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
sickening.
he'll be convicted of his crimes, and they stick him in the Florence, Colorado prison, the Supermax prison. We'll never see him again. Because he's a big time traitor and a criminal, so they have to stick him in the Supermax prison in Colorado, where the serial killers are at and stuff.
What?
So,
Sorry,
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre
the liar in
repeatedly,
chief.
repeatedly asked today about Israel's reported attack on Iran last night. She refused to answer over and over again.
Complete liar.
It kept saying she wants to be mindful, whatever this means. This bizarre situation from the White House, given the importance of the situation.
But like Jimmy Dore says, don't you feel better that a black, gay immigrant is lying to you instead of a white guy?
Right.
You know?
No, that's what it is.
Yeah. I'm not going to play that video. It's like 3 minutes long of her saying the same thing. So,
well, yeah, and I mean, everything that comes out of her mouth is a freaking lie anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like playing,
But she's terrible at her job. Her job as a White House press secretary is being a good liar and, selling the administration's talking points. And she's not good at it. The last one was, what's her face?
Jen Psaki?
Jen Psaki. Yeah, she was good at her job.
Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki. Yeah, she was good at her job.
It's okay.
I butchered.
Yeah, she was a good liar. Good she got a show on MSNBC.
Right.
She's still practically the press secretary. It says she's doing it from MSNBC and making more money.
I would like to punch her in the face too. And I'm a chick, but she has a punchable face as well.
Go right ahead. Bam!
I wanted to play this from Sergei Lavrov, who's the Russian foreign minister. He makes a really good point on why he thinks Israel is trying to attack Iran. So I'm going to let him say it himself. So
в израильских СМИ на
read the
Западе
subtitles, that's Russian.
Желание и цель, мне кажется, переключить мировое сообщество с того, что происходит в секторе Газа, где гуманитарная катастрофа, и многие уже специальные докладчики Совета по правам человека говорят о геноциде. Переключить внимание вот на Иран как на угрозу. И Ирану приписывать хотят в том числе и атаку с использованием ядерного оружия, которого у него нет. Это подтверждает МАГАТЭ. Иран самая проверяемая страна из участников договора о нераспространении ядерного оружия. В Иране существует закон и даже фетва. Это приказ, суждение, заявление, постулат верховного лидера о том, что это в Иране запрещено. И Ирану совершенно не нужно сейчас заниматься этим. После того, как состоялся ответ Ирана на неприемлемый удар по консульскому учреждению иранскому, где погибли люди, и Иран ответил вот позавчера, были телефонные контакты между руководством России и Ирана, нашими представителями и израильтянами, и мы очень четко зафиксировали в
Yeah,
I mean, everything he said there is correct.
yeah.
Right. And I want to point this out that when you attack an embassy, for those people that want to be educated, just like Ecuador, what is it? They invaded the Mexican embassy too as well.
They invaded the
Mhm.
Mexico embassy, which
right,
is another
Yeah.
thing I missed.
Right. Wait. So it's the embassy's Ecuador. So I want people that might not know is that attacking an embassy is like attacking the country, basically. I
Yeah,
understand.
that's
Right.
why. That's
Absolutely.
why Iran had to respond in the way,
Right.
because if they didn't respond, it's like, I mean, look at these bitches. They didn't even respond. You know, they got attacked,
Mm.
didn't even respond. So that's their
Right.
own people. That's their own people.
Right.
Like, why do we gotta respond? I mean, and they're like I said in the beginning, oh yeah, let's send missiles and drones, but let the Americans know, oh yeah, we're attacking Israel this time and this place. Stop the attacks.
Well, and,
So
and that's why, like,
Mm.
I mean, I agree 100%, and that's kind of why people just don't get it, I guess.
Say
But
it, preach.
well, I mean, this is what Scott Ritter was talking about, and that Hamas did this for a reason, and I mean, if of course Iran, what I want to say is he was correct that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. They have
no,
precision missiles, which are worse to Israel, and they're literally going to get. That's what it's going to be. It's just going to be one big wasteland. So literally, Israel's going to get their asses kicked.
yeah,
Sorry,
they
YouTube,
don't.
but that's the truth.
They don't want
And they
Israel.
don't care.
Netanyahu thinks he wants the war with Israel, but he really, I mean, Iran, but he really
Mhm.
doesn't. I mean, what he's also banking on is the United States coming in and saving his ass. Is that, oh yeah, I'm gonna start a war with Iran, and the United States will come in with their military and save
Right.
me,
Right.
from what I cost. So he's basically trying to drag the U.S. into another holy war against the Muslims.
Right.
That's what it's
Right.
about. It's another holy war. That's what he wants, and he wants to recreate what's called Greater Israel. I'm sure you guys have heard of Greater Israel, which is
Though
the
I
country
do. Go ahead.
that was in the Bible. Which Israel, they owned all that land.
Right.
So
And the thing I would add is, though, again, the Nazis were Christian. So when they're done deleting all the Muslims, who do you think they're going to come after next? It's like,
the
hello,
Christians,
looking around to stick the knife.
yeah, the Christians. So
Mhm.
I want to show you guys what Greater Israel actually is. So, whoops, why is this not working? I guess here we go.
How
I
funny.
want to show you guys what Greater Israel actually is. So, so it's all this. It's half of Saudi Arabia. It's part of Egypt, half of Iraq, and most of Syria, and that includes this land here, which is also Israel. So they want to create a really large and nation in the middle of the Middle East and taking most of the land from the Middle
Right.
East to recreate what the Bible or the Old Testament said Greater Israel would be.
Well, and
So
here's the deal, though. Like all those people who say, "Oh, well, you're a Putin apologist, and Putin wants to be like he wants to recreate the USSR." No, actually, Zelensky wants to. Actually, Netanyahu wants to. They are the more like Hitler than Putin has ever been. And I'm not a Putin apologist. If Putin wants to send me a check, go for it. At least it would get me out of debt. No, it's just a joke. But I agree that, I mean, they were like, "Oh, Putin's Hitler. He's the next Hitler." I'm like, I don't see him expanding Russia. I
Listen.
see Zelensky trying to take over Russia and make Ukraine great again. No pun intended from Trump, who I also can't stand. But I mean, like they act like, oh, Hitler 2.0.
Yeah,
No,
they tell
that's
us that. Yeah.
Netanyahu and that's Zelensky.
Right.
yeah.
And
So
to keep in mind, I want people to like real quick, Angel. I did a podcast called Operation Mockingbird. So
yeah.
so basically the CIA operative after World War II, going after. So everything that you said, if you did not agree with whatever the administration back then, you were communist. So
Yeah.
all this propaganda against Russia forever it's basically stems from Operation Mockingbird. That the CIA grabbed these young students, journalists, all that to be like, oh, Russia. So when people be like, oh, well, Putin is this, Putin is that, and I'm like, and what if Putin is bad and he haven't scratched the surface, what about us? We the devil, basically,
Yeah, we've been doing coups since 1948 and probably before that. I mean, that's basically what we did when, again, the movie Cast a Giant Shadow. I would definitely recommend for people to watch that, even though it's pro-Israel. Again, look at it from the side of that I did, and it's basically they were deleting Arabs in 1948 so they could create that country. So it is a good movie. I do like Yul Brynner; he's my favorite. But there is a lesson to be learned here, and that's literally the U.S. are the ones. As Jimmy Dore says, I can't stress this enough. When you point the finger, you got 3 pointed back at you. Yep. So the U.S. is no saint in this.
No, they've created. I mean, there's a list of countries we cooed since 1948. I mean, there's a list. That's how bad how much we cooed. Anyways, I found this Lincoln Project ad about very hilarious. I'm gonna play it, but without sound because the music in it. But I think it's closed captioning should be on. So yeah, here it is. So we're just gonna read it. Russia's brutal and unprovoked war against Ukraine. The daily attacks on civilians in schools, hospitals, and neighborhoods. Vladimir Putin wants to reestablish the old Soviet Union, which he doesn't. The goal of this new evil alliance with Iran, China, and North Korea is to humiliate America, to drive us out, destroy NATO, and weaken our military might. And it's working. It's working because Republicans are helping Putin now. They've joined Russia, Iran, and China in fighting against Ukraine and America by blocking vital assistance so Russia can win. Ukraine's never asked a single American to give their life to protect their country. That's a lie. Just the ammunition to beat Putin. Just ask your congressman, why is he backing Russia against America and Ukraine? Vladimir Putin is America's enemy. And if you stand with America's enemy, what does that make you?
You know what that makes me? A real American.
Good one, Angel. Yeah, that was good. Damn.
Thank you.
Wow. That's good.
That's literally what it sounds like. If you
boogie,
read,
right.
Boogie.
Yes, the boogeyman. Yeah. I'm scared of Russia.
Actually, what they left out there is that Republicans and Democrats are a uniparty full of rich people who want to kill poor people. I'm sorry, who want to delete poor people so they can depopulate the planet. What was it Klaus Schwab said? Into a camera. He said it into a camera. You will own nothing, be happy, and eat sea bugs.
Yeah.
It's the hand that washes the other.
One hand washes. It's quid pro quo. They're right there.
Basically.
And they're Republicans, and they should know better. They're rich people too.
Yeah, Lincoln Project is the George W. Bush administration neocons. That's what the Lincoln Project is. Golden Monarch. There's literally
who also are anti-Trump.
Yeah, they're the only reason.
Anti-Trump Republicans, I guess is what they call them.
They're Bush administration neocons that hate Trump because Trump wanted maybe not to. He didn't start any new wars, so it's like, oh, how dare you? We had to start more wars. I mean, come on.
Right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Angel. No, go ahead, Angel. I'm sorry.
Well, what I was gonna say was, except for Trump continuing all the wars that the neocons started in the early 2000s, and he tried to start a war in Venezuela for no reason. I mean, nobody asked him to do that. He wanted the oil, so it's like, oh yeah, let's just coup Nicolas Maduro, even that failed miserably because he's beloved there, and and then eventually the United States had to come to a deal later on with Venezuela because we stopped using Russian oil. So like, oh shit, we don't have enough oil. Okay, Venezuela, give us your oil, we'll give you money. It's like, okay, sure.
After they tried to coup, what's his name?
Maduro.
Yeah,
President Maduro.
They put in someone. They literally tried to coup him with someone that Venezuelan people are like, who the hell is this?
Juan Guaido.
I've never even heard of this dude.
You know, Juan Guaido is the president.
Guaido.
Yeah, he's the president of Venezuela. He went to all these like G7 summits and world events as the president of Venezuela. And everybody's like, what? This is a joke in Venezuela. I was like, really? I mean, why is this guy going to world events like representing our country when he's not the president? It was a joke.
And then we're excuse me, Venezuela, come here. We're
Mhm.
sorry about that. We were just joking. I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
you.
So basically, what the Biden administration said, it was, oh well, that was a Trump thing, terrible. That was Donald Trump's plan, that we had nothing to do with that. So give us your
Right.
oil.
Right.
And they've spent years. What did Greg Pasta say? They've spent years trying to screw Venezuela because they don't
Mhm.
want a socialist society to work,
To
because they
prosper,
Prosper.
yeah.
don't want
Mhm.
socialism. They
Yep.
don't. They don't want the poor people to have what the rich have. Is
Right.
basically something. You have something.
Yeah.
So they will do everything they can. And this I was watching this. Someone in the chat the other day was saying, oh, these communist bastards. And I'm like, if you think that those people are communists, you don't know what communist is. If you think rich people are communists, you don't know what that word means. You need to look it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look up the
Yeah. That.
definition, because I guarantee
Right.
you it's not exactly what you think it is. And this
Yeah.
person is like, oh, well, I studied it. I'm like, obviously you need more study.
Yeah, because they interchange the word communist with
Yeah,
socialist
we're
all the time.
socialists,
These,
right.
these conservatives, yeah, they interchange them. It's like the same thing to them, and it really isn't. So let's see. The Germans. Let's get to the Germans because they
Oh
are
God.
they're going
Uh-oh.
back to authoritarianism again.
Well, that would be
Uh-oh.
my ancestor, so I'm
Yeah.
already
Mhm.
fucked.
Yeah. What is behind Germany slide into authoritarianism? Watch Red, media's blah 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 name, explain why the attacks on Palestinians, Jews, and all who show solidarity with Gaza are an attack on German society itself. It's about to scare the German society and silence them for the future. So yeah, the Germans really are going back into authoritarianism. They've done this before with Hitler. So we'll see. The Germans are doing the same thing again, but this time, they're supposedly a democracy again.
Shocking images of German police arresting Jews has become the new normal in
Arresting
Germany.
Jews. That's the key word. They're arresting Jews. Like they don't see what a terrible look this is. They're arresting
Have we gone
Jews.
back to 1938
Yeah,
when they did
yeah,
the Crystal Nacht?
yeah. They're
What the
arresting
fuck?
Jews for
Oh my
supporting
God.
Gaza. These are Jews
Right.
that support Gaza. That's what they're arresting. It's like,
Wow.
oh, here we go again.
Oh my
Hello,
God.
are we back in 1938 as Steph said? This is ridiculous.
Almost 80 years since the end of the
80
Holocaust.
years.
Das ist die Solidarität von Deutschland mit Juden.
The crackdown is hitting Muslims first and foremost.
Yeah, Muslims. They
Wow,
hate
that-
Muslims in Germany. It's definitely true. They've been beating Muslims for
Wow.
They
decades
hate
now.
Jews, they hate Muslims. Let me
Yeah.
guess. Most of them are Christian?
Hold on a
Just
second.
the thought.
Yeah, this isn't important. Call you back. But
They hate Christians.
yeah, they
I'm sorry. I don't hate Christians. I'm trying to nudge them and trying to make them realize their own bullshit.
thank you, Laurez, for liking and subscribing. But go ahead, D.
Yeah, I want to bring a couple of things about Donald Trump and why quote unquote new wars didn't start. So if Trump did start any wars or whatever the case might be, yeah, I think the military would have lost a lot of kind of swagger in that. So I think it's like the optics behind that is that the
Yeah.
military did not want to support anything that Trump would do. To be honest
Yeah.
with you. Like,
in
yeah,
fact,
I mean, he didn't start any wars, but he
But
also
he continued.
He,
Yeah,
he
he
bombed.
continued.
Yeah, he went with the bombing
Wait,
campaign.
yeah,
I can't even talk today. Sorry.
yeah.
Go
It's
ahead.
like
Sorry.
he literally dropped the mother of all bombs. That's what this bomb
Right.
was called in
Yeah, killed a
Afghanistan.
16-year-old
In
American
Afghanistan. Yeah.
boy, or no, it was a girl. It was a girl.
His first action is killing an American girl, and I think
Yes,
it
a
was
16-year-old American girl. That was his first action.
It
So
was a
Trump is not
it
good
was
on
in
this
Africa somewhere.
subject.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I think it's Africa. He murdered
Oh.
a 16-year-old American girl in his first
Yeah.
action as president. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
but you're anti-war, my ass. But
Nah.
yeah, I mean, Trump. To be fair, Biden gets credit for withdrawing from Afghanistan, but it's actually
Mhm.
Trump who negotiated the deal with the
It was,
Taliban.
yeah.
It was supposed
So
to be
Trump-
earlier.
Yeah, to me, Trump should get the credit for that, not Biden. Even though all the liberals love to give Biden the credit. Oh, Biden did the withdrawal, blah 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 blah. It's like no, it's
Yeah,
Trump.
and he moved them to other places like Syria
He moved
and
the
Yeah.
troops.
Libya and the Horn of Africa. I remember hearing about a bunch of Wisconsin salvage army or
Right.
not the Salvation
Salvation
Army,
Army.
but a bunch of troops to the Horn of Africa. I'm like, what the heck are we doing in the Horn of Africa? You know,
Well,
we used to send food and money to Haiti, and now we just drop bombs on them.
no, it's called AFRICOM, the United States Africa Mission or something like that. United States Africa Command. It's AFRICOM.
Yeah,
Nobody's ever heard
right.
of it because the media don't talk about it. But
Right.
yeah, we're in Africa. We're like in 10 different countries in Africa. So yeah, we're in every continent in the world. Even at Antarctica, we have a base. So it's like,
Right.
And
You've
it
seen
tells
that
you.
map with Jimmy Dore with all those pins in it,
Oh
where
yeah,
we
with
have
the
bases, and that's just the ones we
like
know of.
know about
2000 some
the
change. Right.
secret ones.
Oh.
There's secret bases, there's secret prisons we have around the world. Is like,
Oh. I was familiar.
that's what rendition was called. It was kidnapping. We would kidnap foreign nationals and send them to secret prisons and torture them and make them confess to crimes we didn't commit. That's back in the Bush administration, but
Oh,
supposedly we don't do that anymore. So
Right.
supposedly, allegedly,
Right.
so
Allegedly.
yeah. Let's continue with this.
Also, anyone who speaks out against Israel's genocide in Gaza. A genocide
You cannot speak out against the genocide in Gaza. You get arrested in Germany. Let's just be clear about that.
being perpetrated with German bombs.
The Germany
Trust me,
sends.
we're next.
Germany
Whatever the Germans
sends.
are doing to get rid of free speech, trust me,
Yeah.
United States will be doing that, and then freedom of religion will go on the chopping block
Police
next. I
arresting
guarantee
Jesus,
it.
but
Yeah, I mean, we Germans send the second amount of arms to Israel, other than the United States. So that's how serious they are about protecting Israel and protecting Netanyahu in Germany.
German bombs and backing. Protests, conferences, slogans,
Oops, we're having buffering.
politicians, and artists have all been banned. Jewish activists' bank accounts have been frozen.
They've frozen bank accounts of Jewish activist groups
Just like they did with the truckers in
in Canada.
up in
The
Canada.
Canadians, the Canadians froze their bank accounts too.
Follow the orders, as
Yes.
Kit says. Follow orders.
State banks
And these
freeze
are the
account.
fucking Germans.
Yeah, these
the
are
people
Germans.
that came up with this shit.
The Germans are right back into authoritarianism.
Oh,
They've fallen
Jesus.
right back into it 80 years later.
The only problem
Hey.
is we don't have Hitler.
No,
I mean, we don't have a
it's-
Hitler.
for a
Actually,
long
we have
time.
two.
Angela Merkel was the not prime minister, chancellor of Germany for a long time.
Right.
And she
Whoever
was
the
the one.
chancellor is now is technically the Führer.
Yeah,
But I would say we have multiple Hitlers. We have Zelensky and we also have Netanyahu. So we also have whoever the chancellor of Germany is now. I think it's
I
a
forget
woman.
his name. It's a man, I think.
Is it a
but I
man? Okay,
hold
then
The,
For Germany now?
What happened to Ursula?
Yeah,
No,
Angela
Or-
Merkel.
yeah,
What
she
happened to
retired.
her?
She
Yeah.
retired
Retired.
finally.
Oh yeah.
What
Olaf
happened
Scholz.
to Ursula? Wasn't there an Ursula that was chancellor
I
of
think
Germany?
she was the head of something else. Well, I'm not sure it was
She-
NATO or something. but
Oh, okay. But she's a WEF slut.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's what she's part of It's Olaf Scholz. He's the new
yeah.
chancellor of
Mhm.
Germany since
Okay,
2021.
Schultz. All
Yeah.
of Schultz.
Olaf
Okay.
Scholz.
Thank you, Robbie.
Oh yeah.
Well, there
thank
you go.
in the
You got
chat.
your Hitler
Let-
in Germany again.
Yeah. So let's continue this.
Activists' homes and community centers have been raided by armed police.
Do they have a warrant for that? My guess is no. They're just
No.
invading random activists for no reason other than
Right.
to scare them.
Oh,
That's coming.
I was
Yep.
close.
Teachers and pupils who show solidarity of
That's coming
Gaza
here.
have been kicked out of schools.
So teachers have been kicked out of schools and universities because they dare to show solidarity with
That
Gaza.
sounds like that's what's happening here.
Yeah, it's happening here. In fact, Columbia University in New York, they're talking about expelling students for supporting Gaza.
Again,
in
what will
Colombia.
happen in
Oh.
other countries will happen here.
What would
That's
happen
what
in
Jimmy Dore
Europe?
says.
What would happen in Europe will happen here.
Yeah.
More specific.
And
Yeah.
and honestly, you can see it every day. I mean, people are like, "Oh, yay, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is a good person." Yeah, she just voted to have our free speech policed. So tell me
Right.
how much of a good person she freaking is.
Yeah, she's
It's-
garbage.
Sorry.
Yeah, she's she's anti-Ukraine because Trump is anti-Ukraine.
Right.
Right.
But she's pro-Israel, so she'll
Yeah.
vote like that good little girl, anything Israel wants.
right, because
so-
she's a freaking Catholic and
Yeah.
sorry, I know that has nothing to do with anything, but she's freaking Christian.
So
I mean,
yeah,
there are communications there. There are,
yeah, the
you know,
Columbia University is talking about expelling students. For now, they're suspended, but they're eventually going to expel them if they keep protesting for Gaza. And I'm like, why are you spending $100,000 or more a year in Columbia? I mean, you get the same education no matter where you go. So it's like, but oh yeah, the prestige. I went to Columbia University. It's like nobody cares about that anymore.
Right.
The employers don't care about that. They'll hire anybody. It's like this is
And
like 30, 40 years ago when that
And
was
that's true,
important.
Grape. There were, I believe, Randolph Hearst was funding the Nazis. I also believe
Henry
that
Ford.
Henry Ford was also funding Nazis over here during World War II. So
What was the other
that is
car
definitely
company?
true.
I think it was Ford, another car company. I think it was Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes-Benz.
Well,
Well, the
that's
Mercedes was
Germany.
over
Yeah,
there.
they're German. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
So Randolph Hearst
Volkswagen.
and
yeah, Volkswagen. In fact,
Rothschild, weren't they also funding Nazis? Rothschild?
well, they're Jews though. I don't think they would.
No, so they would live. I believe they were living there. Then they had to move, but it was still kind of funding some money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I did hear that
because
story.
remember, there was Jews in the SS.
Right.
There were Jews that were in the SS.
Well,
so
I mean,
all you needed was this, and you were allowed
Yeah.
to do whatever you want.
Well, wasn't like
I don't know
George
who runs
Soros was
Breakthrough
there?
News.
It was George, maybe.
I don't.
But I know there were several rich people. It's always rich people that
It's
fund these
American.
Nazis.
Wall Street, officially, the U.S. policy was don't fund, don't send money to Germany, don't fund Germany. We're at war with them. But a lot of Americans did, through back channels. They gave plenty of money to
Right.
Hitler,
And they were all rich, and
Yeah.
they liked the Nazi
They liked the
ideology
fascism.
because they hated poor people. Look at how they refer to us now. Us poors, they call us the useless class because we're taking up their resources, and they think that we're cockroaches. No, honey, you're the cockroach. And I will give up my gas-powered car when you rich people give up your jets, your private jets. Other
And
than
they won't.
shut your mouth.
They won't.
Sit down, you stupid rich fucks.
This is something.
That's it.
We can get into the whole vaccine things. I'm not going to get into that. We're on YouTube, but we should do a Rumble stream or something. Really dig deep on the vaccine thingies.
Oh yeah.
But but
that
for
was
now,
a big rich thing.
yeah, that was a big whatever.
Universities-
But, oh, by the way, vaccines work. You should get your vaccines.
Yeah,
We're on
they're
YouTube.
wonderful.
Right.
I got all 9 of mine.
Yeah.
Students are threatened with exmatriculation.
I don't know what exmatriculation means. I assume expelling, but yeah, they're threatened with that.
Euthanasia? Is that what they mean?
Exmatriculation. I assume that means
I think
expelling
that
from school.
right from school. Yeah, I was about to
okay.
say.
Yeah.
It's expelling.
Yeah,
It's another
from
word
school.
for it.
Yeah.
I thought you said something else.
Kicking
We've
them
been
out.
covering Germany's authoritarianism closely, and our audience often asks, what the hell is happening? Here's Red Media's Hussein Dogru to explain that this isn't about Germany's love for Israel or its Holocaust guilt.
The attacks today.
I think partly is Holocaust guilt why Germany is so pro. I don't agree with that necessarily. I mean, I think it's partly because they're Holocaust guilt. They feel bad about what they did to Israel, so it's like we got to go over the top and bring, covering up for Israel's crimes and stuff.
and it's kind of the same what the United States does here with the border is that they'll let Venezuelans come in. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm not for it. You guys are like that because of us. Come to my country. It's kind of some weird guilt.
Yeah, we screwed up your country all this time. Now come to my country and screw it up even more.
Right.
And I love immigrants. Trust me, I'm not blaming them because again, if you're blaming someone lower than you on the totem pole, you're being manipulated by someone higher than you.
Yes.
They want us fighting. The rich want us fighting. It's poor versus poor. No, honey, it needs to be poor versus rich. This is a class issue. It's always been a class issue.
Yes.
It is not a race issue anymore. It is poor versus rich. And we need to stand up and say, rich people, you sit the fuck down or we're going to cut your damn heads off.
And can I say this? It's not Democrats and Republicans because that's what they tell us
That's the uni
to
party.
think.
That's one
Right.
party.
It's like you said, which I'm all over. It's the class war.
This
We
is
need
interesting.
to win it.
My mastermind, Woodrow Wilson, sold the United States to the Rothschilds in 1913.
There
That's
you
when
go.
That's when they passed the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, and there were some politicians that were against it, but unfortunately, those politicians had little accidents and then no longer with us.
Yes.
So we can get into that conspiracy theory, that conspiracy deeper in another episode. But yeah, it's 100%. That that definitely, that Federal Reserve Act changed America forever. And the United States is no longer they're no longer, why am I forgetting what I was going to say? They're no longer
I do that all the time.
they're no longer I forgot. I
That's
forgot my
okay.
point. But yeah, let's
Well,
just
I
keep
mean,
going.
go ahead. Let's do the video.
Let me go through this.
Against Palestinians, anti-Zionist Jews, as well as everyone who is showing solidarity with the Palestinian cause, is in reality an attack against the German society itself. It's about to scare the German society and silence them for the future. Germany wants to become a leading power within the NATO, and especially militarily and politically leading state within the EU. To achieve this, Germany must silence any kind of opposition within Germany, but also outside. Therefore,
Just
the
like the
German
United
state
States.
is right now disciplining its own society by attacking the weakest layer of the society
That's a
itself.
good point. These are
It
good
attacks
points.
The
the
Poors.
Palestinian solidarity movement. It's not because Germany loves Israel, nor it's driven by any
my
guilt.
God.
In EU, but also in Germany, the developing fascism, fascist parties, fascist movements, once in power, would not hesitate to again massacre Muslims, foreigners, migrants, as well as Jews again, for their own interests, to achieve exactly these interests.
Yeah, that's his point.
They're going back to World War II. This is exactly what
Yeah.
we saw in World War II from them. The only difference is we don't have a leader like that, like Hitler was, saying, "Yes, I am thy
All-
Führer. Bow to me."
But all Schwartz or Schultz is nowhere near the charismatic leader Adolf Hitler was.
Right.
Which is why German society is kind of like, no, we don't want this, and we blah blah blah. It's like now they have to beat down the society, and even then, it's not really working. The German
Isn't
people are
Klaus
really.
Schwab? Isn't he German or is he Swiss?
I think he's German or
Is he German?
or Austrian. He's a German or Austrian.
Okay, well they're still.
There's that
they're
connection.
very close. Yeah, they had that.
Yeah.
Hitler was Austrian,
Right.
so
There goes
I
that
think they're getting it from higher up. So all these people, and it's higher than Schultz. Is that what you said his name is?
Yeah,
Olaf
Schultz is
Scholz?
he's the chancellor.
Okay, so he's not even in this. It's coming from Klaus Schwab or Ursula van der Linden or whatever the fuck her name is. Sorry, I just know Ursula from The Little Mermaid. She was like one of my favorite villains. Anyway, I think it's from higher up. I think, and again, everything that's happening in Germany right now is literally happening because they want us to spy on our neighbor. They want us to nig on our neighbor. For all you Kit Cabellos, it was Trey. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, they want us to spy on our neighbors. Well, the government already spies on all of us, so they're probably listening. NSA are listening, so and they know what we're talking about. They know that there's people out there who protest and stuff, and that's why they're trying to make protests illegal. Everything that's happening in Germany right now is happening here too. Again, freedom of speech is on the chopping block. You heard, if you watched Kit Cabello or Jimmy Dore the other day, Catherine Marr was talking about that pesky First Amendment. That pesky freedom of speech, man. I'm telling you, it's so pesky.
The head of the of NPR, she was talking about how being they're anti.
So inconvenient for us rich people to con the poors. I do declare.
Yeah,
I didn't get that from. I like when Cenk used to do that. It's the only thing I actually liked what Cenk would do. I do declare. Well, he's now part of the rich class too. So.
Oh yeah, I mean he's constantly.
Took $22 million from Katzenberg.
And he's still begging for money.
Yeah, from us go figure that out.
Every time I watch one of his videos, there's like a rare occasion, but there's always a clip, please give us money so we can remain sustainable during this tough economic time for new media, because all new media is shutting down, especially like the bigger ones like Vice and the other ones, but a few of them that shut down the last few years. And TYT's like, oh, we're next. Oh shit, we don't have any money, so let's please let's beg for money from our audience. Keep begging for money.
And I want to throw
the whole Rock and sorry, I'll hang on 1 second. So it's just like the whole Rock and Oprah thing, and then Rock's like, he gave a bullshit of I had a 9-to-5 job, I was poor. Yeah, right. Sure you were, Rock. All right, go ahead. So I'm sorry, D.
And no, that's all right. No, and I want to bring this to give you an idea, right? So for the most part, the protests here in Palestine have been, so far like peaceful. Nobody's breaking anything or anything like that, right? So the way I see it is that the elite, they know so George Soros is not going to fund anything of this nature because there's no money to be had. But there was money to be had in Black Lives Matter, so that's why they pump a lot of money in there. And to be honest, some of those riots or whatever that happened, I think that was funded by them. They got a couple of white liberal people to get into the head of the black people. Oh, let's break this store.
And there was a lot of feds. There was a lot of feds that started most of that stuff, just like the Ray Epps thing on J6. But that's all I'll say is, Ray Epps started all that stuff.
Yes.
There was a lot of feds in the Black Lives Matter as well.
Right.
And people got rich off of that. So that's why it kind of ended. But then also you have the rich lapdogs who are police who don't give a crap about poor people. So a lot of those poor people that were in the crowd literally got beaten up by police. And then they had Fox News on there going, "Oh, the poor police, they have to deal with all these poor people. How dare you?"
Unbelievable. Fox is fucking idiots.
They love authority, and of course none of them are going to have any poor people on. Again, this is all about class warfare.
Right.
The elites want us fighting amongst ourselves. That's why they have the border open. They want to keep wages low. They want because immigrants, again, I love them, I do, but why did they get $10,000? Meanwhile, I'm busting my ass working 4 jobs technically, trying to make ends meet so that me and my son can eat. Again, they want us to fight amongst ourselves when we should be fighting against the rich people.
Right.
Yeah. It makes no goddamn sense. So
and again,
that's
what will happen in Germany will happen here. It's already happening. And again, remember what Jimmy Dore quoted from the movie Network. There are no countries, only corporations, and the systematic funding of dollars.
I've heard that quote before that movie, but I'm forgetting who said it.
Well, since we're talking about Iran and Israel, let's also throw that AIPAC.
I think we got off the track.
And the American lobbying group advocating for pro-Israel policies, AIPAC.
Money
they have
off
a lot of
bullshit walk.
They have all these politicians in their pocket. Biden. They had this the black Congress lady who beat Nina Turner in Ohio. She's making a killing.
Something or other.
What's it? But someone in Twitter put like, hey, she made like 700,000 on AIPAC donations, and just to sit in front of
Joe
black
Biden,
women.
11 million.
Right, and the funny thing is that this is how it works. They'll sit in front of black women, tell them let's empower each other, but at the same time we must, support Israel. I'm like, since black women, Israel. I'm just saying, black. Where that connection is there,
right?
There's
the
really
thing
no
is,
connection.
that it doesn't matter what your race is anymore. Money talks and bullshit walks. Anybody can be bought off. Look at Obama. Obama literally bombed so many people they ran out of bombs. So I mean, it doesn't matter what race you are. You can be Latino, as we saw from AOC. She was bought off like that. Took practically nothing to buy her off. You have Omar, who's a Muslim, again, bought her off just like that. It's literally, this is class warfare. This is not about race, because anyone of any race, even a Native American woman, and I can't remember her name, was bought off, literally did everything to screw Native American people off the lands that literally we put them on in the first place. Our American government put these Native Americans on these lands, and now we want them back.
We signed multiple treaties within these Native American countries for decades, and we've broken all of them. But
broke all of them.
We need this land for Oklahoma, so now you're going to have to move into smaller pockets of land.
Right.
I mean, we can go into the history of all those broken treaties. I mean, they had the entire state of Oklahoma, and then it's like, oh yeah, we need this for us. So here, move into this small top corner of Oklahoma, and we'll leave you alone then.
And then that's why. Yeah, that's why I was kind of like, during the whole, we have to give slaves reparations. I went, who's speaking up for the Native Americans? We should be giving reparations. Reparations. That's not an easy word to say.
Right.
We should be giving reparations to the Native Americans first, you idiots.
Yeah. Well,
We killed
yeah.
them on a massive scale. We did a genocide against the Native Americans, and no one was sticking up for them during the reparations. They were just talking about, and first of all, the California thing. Oh, we're going to give $1 million to every black person. No, you're not,
No, you're not.
because you don't want poor people to be rich.
Right.
So don't give me that
No.
bullshit.
Yeah. So, yeah, just say this real quick. I mean, with people, the content creators who were running to make videos about, oh, we swear this is the start of World War III, guys. Trust us. They did it, I think, Friday, and then the other attack, they ran. Oh, we swear World War III is starting this time, even though the first time we thought it really wasn't. So, and then they had ads all over the videos. I'm like, I know what you're doing. You're trying to get views to make more money. So, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And I don't think World War III is starting off any of these things. I mean, what I think is going on, what's going to happen eventually, if this continues, is the United States will fund Israel, China and Russia will fund Iran, and we'll get a long-term proxy war again. Because there's no way the nuclear powers are going to confront each other. Because that means nuclear
If they're
war.
smart.
And yeah,
If
there's
they're
no way they'll
smart.
confront each other.
Because the only reason why I think the nuclear bombs would go off is literally because rich people have had it. They can go underground, but us poors cannot. So how do you depopulate on a massive scale? Nuclear bombs. Woo!
Well,
Yeah,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Sorry, I
That
hate
sounds
Ric
like
Flair,
that.
by the way.
No, I'm sorry. No, but that sounds like there's this show based on a video game called Fallout. You know, that's on Amazon Prime.
It's on
That it's
Amazon
based on
Prime.
that.
Yeah.
That the
The
rich,
video game.
that the rich people get together. They make
get-
these votes so that people votes where you can put people in there, and then they
Yeah.
blow the country and blame it on China when it was dumb, America, and
Yeah.
basically that's how you capitalize on war and a nuclear. Basically, damn, that shit is too much of a coincidence.
Yeah,
Look
but
what they did in Gaza when they told these people, "Hey, go to this certain city in Gaza."
We
When they
won't
were trying to
attack
get
it.
everybody together so they could.
we won't attack it.
Again.
We swear, and
Yeah, we
then
won't
they
attack
attacked
you.
it.
Scouts honor.
Right.
Scouts honor. We
Swear,
won't
you know?
attack you, and guess what?
They did that the same thing with Gaddafi. Hey,
Yep.
Gaddafi, can you like not make bombs or whatever? You know, the my understanding, he agreed.
And he
My
was our puppet.
Right.
We put him in there,
Oh,
just
yeah.
like we did with Iran in 1953.
And when they go rogue, it's your turn. It's your
Saddam
turn.
Hussein.
Oh, it's your turn to be code.
Right.
Saddam Hussein was
co-op.
Saddam Hussein was our puppet too. In the 80s, I've seen pictures of Donald Rumsfeld and all those guys shaking his hand.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, Saddam Hussein, we love him. He's our
Yeah,
puppet.
we love him.
And then by the 90s, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna invade Iraq. We're gonna, we're because we need a new war to fight.
Right.
And so it's always about war. That's why I don't buy World War III happening fully. I mean, there's a partial possibility of that, but it's very unlikely that the nuclear powers will confront each other because ultimately it's about making money. The U.S. defense contractors make their money long term off a proxy war. It's not
war is very profitable. Homelessness is not.
World War III is death and destruction and nuclear bombs, and most of us will be gone. So,
but
it's
I
not
think
profitable.
but I think the rich, if they had enough of us, because again, remember, they think we're cockroaches and the useless class because we're using up their resources. They want us to give up our air conditioners, our heaters. They want us to give up our gas powered cars. First of all, no one in the freaking world can afford an electric car. The companies, and I've heard this on Redacted, the companies are saying, "Oh, it's just $7,000." Yeah, but it's not $7,000 to put a charging station and pay for the freaking extra power that I'm going to use.
Yeah.
So again, all these electric cars are sitting there collecting dust because no one can afford them. But they don't care. The rich are like, "No, we will outlaw your gas-powered cars." I said, "Yeah." And when you give up your private jets, that's when I'll give up my stuff.
That $7,000 number is true after the tax breaks. So you had to pay up front though. The $40,000.
Right, you have to pay up front,
worth. But that $7,000 is true after tax breaks, but they don't tell you that part.
Yeah, they don't tell you that part.
They have to apply for tax breaks in your next tax filing period, wherever that is, which is about a year from now for most people.
And they will try to screw you. Trust me. That stimulus, they said, "Oh well, anybody under 100,000 doesn't have to pay that tax back." Bullshit! I had to pay it back, and I don't make $100,000.
Right.
I didn't have to pay it back, to be fair, but I don't make anywhere near that. But yeah, they tell to, oh, you don't have to pay it back. We swear. Oh
No.
yeah, by the way, now you do because reasons, So
And not
there it
only
is.
that, right? Not only that, I do my own taxes forever. I always do my
Yeah.
own taxes. And when they did, what was it, 2 years ago? That was one of the questions that they asked you. Did you get that? Because unfortunately, we need some of that money back. There's a
Yeah.
reason why that was in
Because
that.
we need to send it to, kill people delete people in other countries.
Yeah.
No. How about you spend it on me? I deserve that health care, idiots. I'm paying
Right.
for
Yeah.
Israel's health care.
Mhm.
I'm paying for Ukraine's health care. Stupid.
The average taxpayer pays about nearly $1,000 a year for the Ukraine and Israel funding. Each taxpayer
Sorry,
pays
I had
about
to move.
$1,000. So
I had to move my leg.
And then you know what's crazy as well, and people don't see this. So in the last 2 years, we had like 4, 5, $1 billion mega million lotto.
Yeah.
In that more than the last 10, 15 years combined. And
Right.
I tell people, doesn't that kind of ring a bell? Like if whoever wins the money, half of that money will go back to the government.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for those
And they
people
can
that like to
spend it
play
on
the-
more war.
Right.
Yeah, it's the
One
top
hand
one.
Easy
washes
money.
the other.
Because at
Easy.
this point, when you win the few $1 billion, you're in the top 1%,
Right.
which means
Is
you
it gonna
get
be-
50% taxes off
Yep.
the federal government. And if you live in
Right.
New Jersey or California, you're even more fucked because they
Oh.
take a lot of taxes too.
That's why
So,
nobody in New York City is gonna win it. I'm sorry, New York City.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I
thing
mean-
is about that. I think that most of those people, they don't have the head that. First of all, you're not going to be in the club of rich people. First of all,
Right.
because they will still look down upon you. It doesn't matter how much you win in the Powerball, you'll lose it all anyway.
Yeah.
You'll pretty much lose most of it. Because again, yeah, they will come after you. And that's why, unfortunately, in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to come forward with your name. You can't do it anonymously. See, that's the problem.
Right.
So that's why I kind of don't want to win that much, when I'm saying a little would be nice, but they're still going to come, after it in taxes, and then they're going to come and they'll make up some bullshit taxes. Oh, well, we just made up a tax thing 2
Right.
seconds ago. So, give us more of the money. So again, I mean, and people spend it on stupid shit anyway. So
Right.
I'm not saying that, all people are like that, and usually it goes to people who don't need it.
Yeah.
So, and they
billion-
say, oh, well, it helps older Pennsylvanians. No, it doesn't.
Another thing is if you ever collected welfare or anything like that, they can also collect their money back too.
Right.
Yeah.
When you sign for general assistance, it says it in the deal that, oh yeah, you ever in a jackpot, we can collect your money we spent on you too. So it's not just taxes; it's also that too. So.
Right.
Yeah. Again, they'll make up bullshit reasons
Oh,
why
yeah.
they, need your money. So they need their money to fund Israel so that Israel can have fucking healthcare for all. Same with Ukraine. Again, we pay their salaries in the government. We pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Time out. Okay, wait.
Yep.
So because I want this to be, because it's recorded. So my understanding is that Israel does get universal health care on the basis of the taxpayers' money.
Yes,
Or
on
something.
our bill or on our dime, Israel has
Full health
more
care.
than enough funding for their universal health care. Meanwhile, we're told, go fuck yourselves, poor people, because you people in America can't have that.
And I'm gonna, and the reason I ask is I want that to be like, I'm gonna use that to. I tell people that.
Same with Ukraine. Yeah, you
right,
can tell
yeah.
them.
And I tell
that's
people
on our dime.
Mhm.
Literally, I'm paying for healthcare that I can't have in
Universal
America
healthcare.
for people
Right.
in Iraq. Sorry, people in Israel and Ukraine. Yes,
Right.
and we also fund their government.
Yes.
On
Yeah.
our dime, we fund their government.
We pay the salaries of the government employees and stuff like
Yes.
that for Zelensky.
Mhm.
So
And we have been for the past 2 years since
Yeah.
this war has been going, or the proxy war has been going on with Ukraine.
because it is a proxy war. I mean,
Yeah.
United States is on Ukraine's side, and Russia, is fighting indirectly. They're fighting us, but at the same
Oh, I
time,
remember what I was going to say. I'm surprised, honestly, and I'm not trying to say this to be mean, but I'm surprised that Putin hasn't just gone to Ukraine and the United States. But I mean, at least he has a level head. kudos to Putin for having a level head.
Yeah, I
And please believe us when we say not all Americans want a war with you. It's just the fucking rich people who can't understand why, poor people just can't be their slaves and servants.
What's Putin can take Ukraine like that if he
And
wanted
he
to.
would, yeah.
If he really wanted to, he could take the entire country. In fact, Hillary Clinton said at the beginning of the war, she's like, "Oh, we got to turn Ukraine into Putin's Afghanistan." In other words, they thought that he's going to take the entire country.
Right.
So we got to turn it into Putin's Afghanistan. So they would have funded Nazis and white supremacists to fight
And
Putin
that's where it comes back
for 20
to
years.
Right. And that's where it comes back to the fact that they wanted this proxy war with Putin because, a big bad Russia. A lot of people were very sad when the Cold War ended. They were very sad because of this. Again,
Right.
it all comes down to this, the almighty money dollar. And if you don't have it, guess what? You're fucked.
Which is why it's unlikely World War III would happen. But again, I mean, maybe these people, but it's money. They can make more money through proxy wars than through starting World War III and having the nuclear powers confront each other, because that means that we're all dead pretty much, except for the rich. But
yeah, and I want to bring this up. So gas has gone up in the last 2 weeks, I believe, like 40-50 cents. And I always tell people that, America, when it comes to war, gas goes up. And they'll be like, oh, that's because, in other countries, the oil, no. The United States finds a way to get money. And because gas goes up.
They print it every day. They can just print it.
Right, because so this is where America pays the price. So that if you was in that America that was like that didn't have the money, but you wanted to eat that burger, but now it was $3, but now it's $5 because of the gas price. Blame that on United States. Don't blame that because they need that money for war.
Well, here's the funny part about that, and again, it was Trump and Obama that both did this. Okay, so Obama. Oh, he first he was like, no, let's not do the Keystone Pipeline. Let's not do that. But then eventually he kind of caved in and said, okay, yeah, do it. Well, then Trump okayed it again for them to do that. The problem is none of us Americans or Canadians were ever going to see an ounce of that gas.
Right.
They wanted that gas to pump it to the Middle East and give it to Germany, give it to Europe, because that would have been a main gas line. Again, it's all about the Benjamins, baby.
That was probably,
and trust me. We were never, and it leaked from the beginning, so it poisoned the poor's waters, our water, poisoned our waters, poisoned our environment. And again, this is where the wicked in me gets fucking pissed off, because that's my church you're ruining. My nature is church, or my church is nature, and you're poisoning that. You're literally using the ocean as a trash bag, a trash compactor.
Yeah,
and I can't stress this enough that it pisses me off that literally how much oil do they spill in the ocean, and then they put journalists in jail because they don't want them to report on it. They've been doing that for fucking years. And our oceans are so poisoned that they want to poison, the rich want to poison our water because they don't want us poors to have it. They're going to ration our water. They're going to make us eat sea bugs, or they're going to kill us or delete us.
Well, the federal government's talked about selling off, public land waters. Nestle created a whole plan about how they were going to take all our water and bottle it up and sell it to us like $3 or $4 a bottle. It didn't happen.
That's what they've done.
Yeah, pretty much. It didn't happen fully, but
we
it
all
somewhat
had
happened.
when we were kids, we all had clean water coming to our houses. But then Nestle and Coke and Pepsi also took over this, where they would bottle it and then sell it back to us. The problem was the bottled water that they sell is poisoned. How is it poisoned? From the plastic. And I said, why can't we just use glass bottles? Because they want us poisoned. They want us sick all the time, so Big Pharma can make more money. And then they also want to poison and ration our food and water because, again, give a slave a little bit and he'll still do it, right? What did George Carlin say? They want us smart enough to run the machines, but dumb enough not to ask why we're doing it.
Yep.
And how do you do that? Well, you make them slaves.
Right. And then the other thing, too, I want to bring this up, and this is the hypocrisy of some of the people from the squad, or that Greta Greenberg, that white girl, she's ugly. She's ugly kid. That's just my opinion. But but the hypocrisy is that the number one polluter in the world is United States and the Army, because they do the
Army.
Pacific thing,
Yeah, we have
right? And
over
then
100 or
yes,
800. No, it's over
right.
1,000 now. Over 1,000 military bases that literally pollute on a massive scale. That's what I meant by, I'll give up my gas powered car and my air conditioner and
Mhm.
heater when the rich give up their private jets, which pollute on a massive scale more than
Right.
everybody else's air conditioner, heater, and our cars.
And where's AOC? Where's Greta Greenberg talking about those against the Army that pollutes? Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere. No, yeah, and they're keeping up. And I thought climate change was real too, but the
Yeah.
way that they're using it, it's literally a fucking scam. I was on board with that. I was like, well, first of all, here in Pennsylvania, they didn't make paper straws real. They didn't make that a law that you had to use a paper straw. But I've seen it, and literally, it has more toxins in it than plastic straws do.
Right.
Yeah.
So they did that on purpose to keep us sick. They poison our food, they poison our water and ration it so that they can keep us sick, so that, like I said, Big Pharma can keep making profits. This is what I was talking about someone earlier about the whole, Big Pharma advertised painkillers to athletes, aka mostly professional wrestlers, because hey, guess what, you're really hurting because you hurt yourself in the ring, or your knees are really screwed up and you don't have money for surgery. Guess what, you can just have a painkiller and all that pain will go away. And then they got addicted to fucking painkillers, and these motherfuckers knew it, and they knew they were going to get addicted to these painkillers, and they still advertised them to wrestlers. So wrestlers got addicted and then started using other shit, and that's why a lot of them overdosed.
Yeah, and then back in the 90s, there's a list of wrestlers who died in their 30s and 40s, and it's mostly because of oxys. Because in those days, if real quick wrestling thing, but in those days, if you didn't work, you didn't get paid.
Sorry,
So
it
was
always
like,
comes back to wrestling.
yeah, I mean, because I've said this before, wrestling and politics are very similar, but yeah, I mean, if you didn't work, you didn't get paid in the 80s and 90s. So it was like.
Right.
Well, I can't go away and have surgery on my shoulder or my back because I don't get paid for 6 months or a year.
You also didn't have any benefits because you were a contractor.
Yeah.
A subcontractor. Yep.
The wrestlers are still independent contractors, but WWE is giving them some benefits, like a guaranteed salary at least. If you get hurt, you get something. You may not get the money that you get
I'm glad
if you're
of
working.
that. I just wish they would have had that back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, what's called the downside guarantee. They get something. But yeah, I mean, to this day, they're still independent contractors. It makes no sense. I mean,
well, and you brought up the Jesse Ventura thing, that he was on the Shitlibs Vanguard. I said, I can't believe that. That breaks my heart so much, because those guys literally gave a blowjob to Ryan Grimm and then blamed Jimmy Dore, who had nothing to fucking do with it, and their audience. Well, if you blame your audience, if I sit here and go, oh, David, you're a piece of shit, I mean, they're not going to want to watch us anymore. So, I mean, they literally got mad at their own audience and called them names, and literally no one wants to watch them because they literally called them out.
Yeah, because their audience came from the Jimmy Dore show. This is what they don't like. Their audience, they were sucking up to Jimmy Dore first. Somehow, oh yeah, he's right, 100% right, and that's where most of their audience came from. But once they turn shit-lived like they really are, then it's like, oh yeah, we hate Jimmy Dore, and it's his fault. Everything is his fault, and he's a right winger. That's another thing. So yeah, I mean, they hate their own audience, even though they're the ones that make them the money, because they have 50,000 subscribers, which is I can't believe they had that many subscribers.
I can't believe they have that many people after they literally blame their audience, not once but twice.
Yeah, I heard that
story. They doubled down
right
there.
They doubled down and said, "Oh, it's still your fault that we gave a blowjob to Ryan Grimm." I went, I don't think we had anything to do with it there, fuckos.
And then Jesse goes on there. He went on there once before. It was like, okay, whatever. Twice.
I thought it was Tyrell. Didn't Tyrell go on there?
It might have. I thought it was Jesse.
I've talked to Tyrell. I haven't seen him face to face, but I've talked to Tyrell. I've talked to Jesse, and this just breaks my heart. It's like, you guys just turned shit-lib right in front of me, and I hate that.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell's going on with Jesse? I mean, when he was governor of Minnesota, it was, oh wow. I mean,
he was kicking ass and taking names. Yeah, I know. Because when he was governor, I was 12 years old. And I'm like, damn it, I wish I was 18 and lived in Minnesota. I
Yeah,
would have voted for Jesse. In fact, Kurt Hennig voted for Jesse. He admitted
yeah, yeah.
that
He's the
in the interview.
He was the governor for one term. He didn't run for re-election because I'm not a politician. I did
Yeah.
what I was supposed to do. I did what I promised, and now I'm leaving. You know,
Right.
that's he was principled like that. Not many
Oh, yeah.
politicians are like that.
And he
Right.
said afterwards he had done something no other person had ever done, and that's get the Democrats and the Republicans in the same bed
Uh-huh.
to literally undermine everything he had done for
Undermine his
Minnesotans.
administration after he
Yeah.
left office. Yeah.
And he said in an interview one time, he said, I always felt like I needed a shower. Because it was just, I mean, you had to deal with that bullshit from the Republicans and the
right.
Democrats.
In the Democrats,
And he was
4
independent,
years.
right? Was he independent?
He was
Yeah.
independent, yeah. He was
Wow.
talking the good talk. I have all of his books. Well,
Yeah,
most of them.
the story is the only reason why he won the election because they allowed him in the debates. They
Yeah,
had one
and
debate.
he started talking
Yeah.
sense, and
Yeah.
Minnesotans were like, "Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's
So
what I
they
want
all
to do."
voted for him, and he won a week
Mhm.
before the election. A week.
A
That's all
week,
he
yeah.
needed. One
Yeah,
debate.
that's all he needed.
That's all he
said
needed to win.
he won that election with 300K. That's all he had
Wow.
That's all
Yeah.
he had. That's all he raised.
Right, and
Basically,
that's right.
yeah,
He
300K.
was independent, so he
He was
didn't raise
independent,
the millions.
and he was
from,
talking sense.
And then I just want to bring this out to the audience out there once again when it comes to how much power the Unity Party has. To run independent or third party to get into the ballot is not an easy thing.
Look what they
And
did to well, they did this on purpose. Peter Dow did this on purpose. He
Okay.
literally ruined Dr. West.
yes,
Completely ruined
Yes.
RFK Jr. And
Uh-huh.
now they're on no ballots. If RFK Jr.
Right.
at least had stayed with the Green Party, even though the Green Party is shit because of
Yeah.
Howie Hawkins, they've turned corporate. But even if RFK Jr. had stayed with the Green Party, he would be on ballots.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's on absolutely nothing.
I don't know
And
how
Dr.
many
West,
ballots
same
he's
thing.
on. Yeah, he might be on 1 or 2 states.
Maybe
but
one
I'm
or
like-
two.
and I
Same
gotta
with
check
Dr.
this
Jill Stein.
right, and I gotta check this out. So, because in New York, I guess every state, but I know in New York, because that's what I did on the last presidential election. I wrote my president
your
name.
name.
No, well,
It wasn't your-
no,
oh.
that was a secret. Come on. You're not supposed to say I ran for president.
Oh.
No. But
Well,
just
can you literally give us what we want? That's
No,
what I want to know, D.
but-
Can you
but
give
the-
us what us fours need?
oh, I got you. But
Because
even though
I don't want you to run because honestly, I think you would end up like JFK. I'm thinking of your safety, D.
but I can't run for president because I was not born here. I was born in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
I
Jake
was
tried
born-
to do that. I'm like, Jake, you're an idiot.
Right. And
Yeah.
so,
It clearly states in the Constitution, dude. And he's like, oh well, the Fifth Amendment,
Right.
it's on our side, and the 14th Amendment.
claimed-
I'm like, none of those shit talks about foreigners being president. You
Right.
idiot.
He claimed that the 14th Amendment overturned that part of the Constitution when it didn't,
nope.
because
Nope.
it didn't say that. And
It
it's
was
clear.
talking about ex-slaves
Yeah.
that had become American citizens after the Civil War. You
And
idiot!
and you
Right.
couldn't discriminate against
They
them.
were born here, Jank.
Mhm.
These are ex-slaves that were born here. Oh my gosh! And then the Fifth Amendment was something about soldiers or British soldiers or something. I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, that's
Oh no,
ridiculous.
pleading the Fifth.
Right.
When you plead the Fifth, you have a
Right.
right to plead the Fifth, so you don't incriminate yourself. I was like, how the fuck does that have anything to do
That's
with
what they were
foreigners?
running, yes.
I
yes.
can't believe any.
You can't combine them.
I can't
You
believe
can't
any
just say
lawyer.
random thing. Oh well, I think the Eighth Amendment helps me become president.
I can't believe
That's
any lawyer.
That's literally capital punishment, you moron.
I can't believe any lawyer took on that case for Jen. Because I'll do this for you. You're like,
The money. They took
Oh, I got
easy
the
money.
Fifth Amendment.
yeah, it's like,
What the
I
hell
can't
does the
believe-
Fifth Amendment have to do with fucking
Yeah,
anything?
Right.
I mean, it was money, but most lawyers are like, I'm not getting laughed out of court, being humiliated by a judge. I mean,
Well, I
But-
agree with Jimmy Dore. It's probably just to promote his stupid, shitty book
Right.
that
Yeah,
he
that's what it
promised
was.
to write for years and literally pre-sold, but never wrote the book.
And
Yeah,
the
that's
sad
what it
thing is this: that a lot of these candidates, whether it's Democrat, Republican, if you're running at 5, 6, 10%, it's because you're writing a book, basically. You know what I mean? And then that's what it comes down to. But I want to go back to, a lot of people don't know this, that in the ballot, when you vote, you got, one slate here, one slate here, and there's an empty slate that you could actually write in your candidate. And for some reason, people think that you cannot. And I'm like, oh my goodness, the dumbing of this country.
That's how they got Joe Biden. I think was it Vermont or was it New Hampshire? Where they actually they had people say write in Joe Biden's name because Joe Biden wasn't even on the fucking ballot, and he still
it was New Hampshire.
It was New Hampshire. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes,
because
80% of the vote was write in only, and it was for Joe fucking Biden,
and
that
he wasn't
even on the ballot.
Now does that count, right?
Yeah,
it counts. Yeah,
yes,
he won. He won
if
New Hampshire.
If he would have lost, it wouldn't have counted because the Democrats, but since he won,
because they make up the rules.
Yeah, they make up the rules.
Here's the kicker: literally, Trump nor Biden campaigned in any of the states that they won, and literally they won. That tells you our elections are a fucking sham.
Oh, absolutely.
Because both Republicans or Democrats are partisan, so it's like, okay, Biden's our guy, we're going to vote for our guy,
and they're going to, the ballots were Joe Biden. Yeah, they literally had campaigns for Joe Biden. He wasn't even on the fucking ballot.
It happened in 2020, if you remember, all the ballot harvesting.
Yeah.
And Biden, all of a sudden, I think it was in Michigan, in that county where Detroit is in. I forget what it's called right now. And they stopped counting at around 1 in the morning. I was up trying to figure.
They did the same thing in 2000 in Florida.
Yeah, and by the time they started counting again, somehow 100% of the votes were for Joe Biden. I'm like, that was literally 100%. It was a county in Michigan, really small one. 100% for Joe Biden. I'm like, that's impossible. Even if it's a blue county, it's impossible. 100% or vote for one candidate.
Right.
So that was some weird stuff went on in that election.
It was literally bullshit. And they did the thing with Clinton. Oh, against Bernie Sanders. Oh, well, all 7 were heads. All 7 coin tosses were heads. Hillary won. Oh, boy.
That Iowa shit. Yeah.
That's
serious.
Believe that shit.
And then the funny thing, that's interesting you mentioned that because I also mentioned that in one of my podcasts in regards to that some of the people that was in Bernie's camp, they took that to the Supreme Court. Right, and it was not overturned, but the appeal was denied by Clarence Thomas, who happened to be buddies with Joe Biden. Hello, come on.
Joe Biden was the one who helped them secure that Supreme Court seat.
Oh yeah.
That story about Anita Davis, if you remember Anita Davis.
He's anti-black. I'm sorry, he's anti-black.
He destroyed.
Clarence Thomas was cleared of all charges, but he did things to Anita.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Joe Biden, grilled Anita Davis like she was a liar and a scumbag to protect Clarence Thomas and get him that seat.
They always
and now he
blame the woman.
And now he turns around and like, I hate Clarence Thomas. He's the worst. He should resign. It's like, dude, you put him there. You put him in that Supreme Court seat 30 years ago.
And he denied that appeal. The one with he denied that appeal. Him personally denied that appeal.
And there was another lawsuit from a couple Bernie supporting attorneys.
Yeah.
They filed a lawsuit saying against the DNC.
Anita Hill. It was Anita Hill.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about the DNC one.
Okay, they filed a lawsuit against the DNC for fraud because they wanted the money back that Bernie supporters gave Bernie Sanders because it wasn't a fair primary. It turns out the judge says, "Oh no, the Democratic Party is a corporation. They can set the rules however they want." So he dismissed the case.
So that should tell you that our
that told me
elections
everything I needed to know.
All I wanted to say was ask Tara Reid how that goes. How when you come forward with credible claims, to ask Tara Reid how that goes down. She's over in Russia right now.
Yeah, Tara Reid's a member of INN. She's over in Russia. She did a show earlier today on the channel.
We love you, Tara.
Check that out.
Back.
She had Fiorella on, earlier today. So
Isabel.
yeah, she had her on earlier today on the INN channel. So check that out.
Check that out, guys. We love it. We love Tara.
It's a Me Too movement with an asterisk.
With an asterisk.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, D.
once Sarah Reed came out, that organization Time Up in 2020 was like, yeah, I mean, we can help you, but at the same time, it's like, no, we really can't. Turns out they said no because it's an election year, and we, blah blah blah. But they gladly help Trump women, women that
Oh,
allegedly
Stormy
were
Daniels in The
E.
View.
assaulted by
Carroll,
Trump. Yeah,
E. Jean
Oh,
Carroll.
Stormy.
Carol, they helped all those
Yeah.
women. Meanwhile, Tara Reid
Oh,
came. Oh yeah, by the way, Joe Biden did something to me in the '90s.
and they start questioning her. What?
Yeah,
And
Like,
they're
are you
like, oh,
sure?
by
Wasn't
the
you
way,
drunk?
you went over to Russia for a book thing. Don't come back. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they told her. I feel
Yeah.
so sorry for her.
Yeah, it's like
She's being victimized by her
they-
own fucking government.
I think it was Matt
Sorry.
Gaetz told her that there was a warrant out for her arrest from Interpol.
Right.
It was Matt Gaetz. It's
Wow.
like, don't come back because there's a warrant against you.
And
Tara
he's
Reid,
a Republican, and he's supposed to
Yeah.
be the champion of Republicans. Now, Matt
Yeah.
Gaetz knows where his bread is buttered, baby.
yeah,
Yeah.
he came.
None of these fucking Republicans are standing up for poors.
So Matt Gaetz
By
let her
design
know,
too.
don't come back.
By
There's a
design.
warrant against you.
Yep.
And then her lawyer tried to figure out, is there a warrant against Tara Reid? He's like, we don't know. Maybe, Interpol was kind of like, maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know. We can't really tell you that information. So it's a secret warrant, in other words. You can't do
Right.
that. It's just,
Look at what happened with Snowden. Look at what happened with Edward Snowden. I mean,
he's
same
exiled to Russia.
thing. He's exiled to Russia
Just
because
like
he
Tara Reid
told
is.
the truth.
To
Tara
be fair,
Reid told the truth. You don't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
sent over to Russia for lying.
they exiled her to Russia, just like
Yeah.
they did with Edward Snowden.
You don't get
To
that
be-
way by lying. You get a contract for $300,000 a day, like Rachel Maddow, can't even say her freaking name, gets every
Yeah.
day so she can lie.
Fiorella, to be fair, she moved to Russia on her own, but yeah, everybody
didn't
else
know
was
that.
exiled there. Yeah, she lives in Russia. She works for RT in Russia.
Oh,
She has her own show, I think. I see clips. She posts clips all the time on X.
no wonder I didn't see her on the Pasta show with Greg Pasta. I love him too.
She
Hi,
occasionally,
Greg. If you ever see this.
occasionally, she appears on Combo Couch. They still do
Combo
it, but
Couch, that's
not
it.
every day. They still do it, but not every day. Pasta does his own show now, and she has her own show too. So, yeah, it depends on it's like an 8-hour time difference, so it's difficult for them to get together. So it's like, but
Aw.
they still do it occasionally. So
Well, no offense, I haven't really heard a lot from Craig. Has he been on? Did he do the second volume of Lahaina on Fire?
As far as he's talked about doing another trip soon, just that he can't raise the funds. He has to raise the funds first.
Okay.
But he's doing his own show, Pasta to Go. It's on his
Yeah.
YouTube channel, so
Okay.
he's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. a couple
I
days a
just
week.
know that he was guest host on Jimmy and
Yeah, he did.
no offense to Russ. I love Russell Dobular. He's I love him and Keaton.
Yeah.
I watch Due Dissidents as much as I can. So and I love those guys. I really do.
Good
But it
people.
just seemed like, guest host was and literally there was no Jimmy Dore show today because literally Steph and Jimmy are traveling and I'm
Yeah.
guessing Russ couldn't do it. So
Yeah. I think they're back in New York now because they're doing a Due Dissidents live.
Are
They're
they
having
right
a live
now?
show like Jimmy. Not now, but like a few days from now. And the
Okay.
reason why I know because Jesse Jett, the member of INN, is performing there in person.
Jesse
So-
Jett, I love him.
Yeah, he's
we
performing
got a
in
free
person in New York.
We got a free concert the other day on Kit's show. So
Yeah.
Jesse, come back soon.
Yeah, I mean he does a show in INN called American Tradition every other week with Indy. So it's on Tuesday nights at 10 or 10:30, something like that. So check that out too on the channel.
Yeah, please sub to Jesse and tell
Yeah.
him his music is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, I mean that's a lot. We kind of got off track with Iran, but that's fine. Whatever.
Oh, we always get off track, even on
Yeah,
wrestling talk.
right,
We'll
right.
get off
Yeah.
track tomorrow too, I bet you. With
No,
Kit.
this is like a social study lesson. If you're a teacher
Yeah.
out there that have students asking questions,
That's
this is a
right.
good kind of nice little thing to start.
And don't
their
shut them down
students.
if they ask questions about
Right.
history.
Yeah.
Especially those in the college institution. What I always say, the college institution is like the most anti-union institution because they frown upon the blue collar. You know what? And the other thing, what I came across too, because a lot of people don't know, in the private sector, unionized is like 5%, which is way low compared to 30 years ago, I've
Mhm.
noticed that I've come across a lot of plumbers, blue collar electricians, and all that are people that voted for Trump. So, in a way
Yeah.
to cut down unionites in the private sector, it's kind of like giving money to corporations, which is where the liberals, Democrats, will jump into the corporations. Hey, make sure
Right.
that you just don't hire, go non-union. That's okay, as
Mhm.
long as you don't hire these Trumpers or whatever the case might be.
Yeah,
Me.
see, that's the problem is the shit libs wanted
Right.
to literally demonize half the country and all these
Mm-hmm.
Trumpers when Trumpers were just desperate. Jimmy Dore said
Yeah.
he had a Waffle House cook on his show that said, Trump is a loudmouth Yankee. You should have had his ass kicked years ago, but I voted for him because I'm desperate.
Yeah.
Right.
So, or because we're desperate. So
Yeah.
again, I think a lot of people unfortunately saw Trump for what they thought he was going to be. But again, Trump is the same. It's the same old song,
Mm-hmm.
but you're
No,
just not there. So
Yeah.
he's in the club. He funded
Trump
all
is
those politicians and he's in the club.
Yeah.
right, and Trump, and I always tell people that you know who are the real Trumpers? The white liberal Democrats in New York City. Those are the real Trumpers. Those are the
Right.
Yeah.
people that stood in his hotel. If I look, because I'm gonna do, a matter of fact, before we leave or whatever it is, 3 weeks from now, I'm gonna start doing like video podcasts. So I'm gonna be
Okay.
out there, my handsome self. I'm missing, I'm missing a tooth here, but I tell people, I tell people because
I'm
I'm working on
blushing.
it. Wait, listen, I tell my people, look, there's these hockey players that are missing too. Why not podcasters? We've been on the rough thing going on.
Yeah.
And I tell people, if I want to show this graph in 2012 presidential elections with Obama, 89% of those people in Manhattan voted blue. In
Well, it is,
2016, right, is 85. So
Yep.
I grabbed those 85%. And all I'm saying, are you going to tell me that in the Trump Towers that it's Republicans that live in there? No. It's 85% most likely. So the real Trumpers are not the MAGA wearing people. It's those white liberals in New York
They
City.
just wanted change. They wanted health
Right.
care. They wanted a living wage, which we're still fighting for. And like I said, I think it's good that in California, they were, giving those fast food workers $15 an hour. The only thing I was trying to tell people is I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Rich people, you have to understand, rich people do not like poor people having money.
Right.
So they want to hoard it all. So this $15 an hour, yes, is great for fast food workers. However, what's the catch? So the catch was these delivery drivers were given the boot so they could give less workers who literally live off of tips, and that was anyone who does Uber Eats, who does Grubhub and DoorDash. So they can pay the DoorDash people and the Grubhub people less money than they would if they had these delivery drivers and give them $15 an hour.
And it
That was
happened.
the other shoe.
And it happened here in New Jersey with Walmart because Walmart was forced to raise their wages to $15 an hour. And what did they do? They immediately closed Walmarts and Sam's Club all around the state. Certain amounts when fired a
Fuck
bunch
over
of
poor
people.
people as much as you can.
Right.
So to
Or
maintain
you
their
become
profit
all
margin,
robots and all automated,
yeah,
like they did in
that's next.
Texas.
Yeah,
Right.
they
Robots.
to maintain their profit margin, they had to fire a bunch
Right.
of closed stores and fired a bunch of people. Yeah,
Right.
That's one thing Wall Street won't put up with. If you start losing money, even if you're really profitable, you make less profit than you did the year before. You're a failing company, and people need to get rid of your stock.
Right.
Which is why they do that. They don't want to. They don't want to have Wall Street start selling off their stock and all of a sudden lowering the price, and all the executives lose money. This is how this system works. What do you think? Apple is a $3 trillion corporation
Same with
because
McDonald's, same with Amazon, same with all these big major corporations. So let me ask, Angel, I know you're in New Jersey. Are you in New York, D?
New York City, to be exact.
New York State. Okay. So
New York
I'm in
City, New York
Pennsylvania.
City.
So
City.
in the city. So in New York State and the city. Oh boy.
Well. I mean, I like
double
the
whammy.
reason. Well, no, right? Because I like to say New York City exactly because New York City, it's that thing. It's where everything happens. You know what I mean? Where me happens.
So I'm in
Richie.
Pennsylvania, and I looked up now. Pennsylvania supposedly passed a bill to raise our minimum wage here in PA because it's still $7.25. But the people around us have raised theirs. Now they say our state government says that they're going to raise it to $10.25 on July 2024. It's a fucking lie, but literally they're in PA, the Democratic, and they're all Democrats, are
the
literally
governor.
fucking over poor people here by keeping the minimum wage at $7.25. Whereas New Jersey has raised theirs, New York has raised theirs,
Yeah, they
Maryland
did.
raised theirs. I think Ohio has also raised theirs. Again, how do you
Well,
fuck poor people?
Also, Florida has too through ballot initiative, but of course, Ron DeSantis
We're not a
and the
ballot
Republicans.
initiative state. That's why.
Yeah, Ron
That's how you
DeSantis and
keep us poor.
Ron DeSantis and the Republicans try to fuck that over. They say, "Oh yeah, we can ignore this." They passed a little bill saying that. So they
So
still have.
when,
Go ahead.
right, and then it's funny because in New York City, and this I always say, so when they raised the minimum rate, and then let's say somebody in New York City decides, hey, because the rent is high, let me splurge because now I can maybe live close in Manhattan. So Manhattan is that borough where whatever the case might be. So what is the answer to that? You raise the rent up the roof. So I always tell people that, especially people in the Latin and Black community. Oh, so now I'm making $100,000. Maybe I can live with them. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna raise the rent in their price. They could afford the rent to raise. You're still gonna be stuck in a neighborhood where crime is up, schools is down, whatever the case.
Again,
so there's always fun. Yep.
Keep the poorest fighting
Right.
amongst themselves. And I
Yep.
agree, Heidi. The only thing is, I don't think Josh Shapiro, he's so fucking corrupt he can't see straight. And so is that fucking and that this is the funny
John
part.
Fetterman.
Uncle Fester was in my
Yeah, John
district.
Fetterman. Wow.
And Oz too. And I didn't vote for any of them. And that's because I knew Uncle Fester was literally corrupt.
Yeah. And what's worse about John Fetterman, real quick, is all these liberal shows, they were all endorsing him, like back when he first running, and they were like,
"Oh, he's gonna be like AOC in the squad."
Yeah,
well, then fuck him. I don't want him.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh, well, yeah, he's a Zionist, but that doesn't matter because he's all these other great positions." Now that being a Zionist is so bad, now they all turned on him,
right?
And they all started calling him names like he's dumb and the stroke ruined him and all this
here's
other
the
stuff.
funny part. When he was campaigning in Pennsylvania, excuse me, they were saying stuff like, "Oh, Oz lives in New Jersey and he has 3 mansions." I'm like, and Fetterman came from Harvard, you idiot. I'm not stupid. He's fucking rich too.
Right.
So we have 2 rich fucks.
He went to Harvard and acting like he has a hoodie and shorts and acting like he's a regular guy.
I was like,
meanwhile,
that's like
he went
the
to
fucking
Harvard.
rich Duck Dynasty guys. They were actually rich guys acting like hillbillies.
Yeah. They were wealthy to begin with. I'm like, yeah, it's a gimmick. That's John Fetterman's gimmick. The hoodie and the shorts. Again, like wrestling. Guys have their gimmicks. And, and they stick to their gimmicks. And, that's how they make money.
Like Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, again, that's what,
none of the politicians are perfect like Mr. Perfect, baby.
That's why I always say
I would vote for Kurt Hennig because at least he stood for what I stand for.
Right.
He did.
He would have been independent.
Yeah, because he voted for Jesse and he agreed with what Jesse was saying about, back in the day.
And Jesse loved to talk politics, and he was in WWF. So even a lot of people were like, "Oh, come on, Jesse! I'm sick of politics, man. We're here for wrestling."
Right.
He would talk everything. What he believed in the '80s was true when he was a governor. It's the exact same beliefs.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
it's starting to change. What is starting to change about that? It's probably something to do with his family. I don't know if it's Tyrell. I don't know if it's his wife Teresa. But by the way, she's very pretty. If you've ever seen a picture of Teresa,
yeah, I have. It's
and she actually had seizures, and he was explaining that he had seizures, and he said, I was holding her in my arms one time and I was scared to death that the person I love more than life itself was going to die right in my arms. That really hit hard with me, and I understand, but I think this has to do with something with his family. The reason why he's turning into a shit lib, it has to do with the family.
It has to be, because
they either they threatened Teresa, like they can't get her cannabis because she was on herbal stuff. She was on cannabis there.
Yeah.
and it's because like it takes away seizures and stuff, and it's actually better for you than painkillers, because he said that she was on all kinds of drugs and they just weren't working, and they were, you know, big pharma stuff. And then he said we went to cannabis and immediately it stopped. But they had to move to Colorado because it was like $300 a month to get this cannabis in Minnesota, whereas in Colorado, it's not.
Well, it's legal. There's a market for it here in New Jersey too. It's legal. There's a market for it now. So that there's a cannabis store not far from me. So yeah, so it's perfectly legal now here. So yeah, I do need to wrap up. So any final thoughts before we go?
I've had so much fun. I can't wait till tomorrow when we have Cabela only. We'll be talking about the Montreal screw job and not politics, which I get very. I'm sorry for getting, you know.
Wait, there was politics there in that Montreal screw job. There was some.
Oh yeah, there
was.
Yeah.
I definitely had a lot of fun. This was cool.
Happy early 420 days. It's Steph's birthday tomorrow. So
I'll be 38 years old.
Yeah.
So smoke them if you got them. I don't smoke it, even though, but I'm not going to say that you're evil, because weed is actually better for you. So please, please, please keep yourself healthy and smoke them if you got them. That's what I say. But yes, tomorrow is my birthday. I'm very, very excited because my son and my father are taking me out. And then I get to spend my time with Angel and Dee and Greg and also Kit Cabello.
Yeah. So we'll be on to talk about the Montreal screw job with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon. We'll have to dig into that. I mean, actually, that's longer than 2 hours that we have, but we'll get as much into it as possible in those 2 hours.
And if we go over, don't blame us.
Yeah.
and I'm listening. I'm listening to different people. I was watching. Yeah, I was watching. How can I say? A couple of people that did the Montreal screw job, and they basically like 2.5 hours because it's so much to digest. You know what I mean?
Jim Cornette. He did like 8 hours. He did like 8 hours. Or something.
I think he did like 5 to 8 hours worth of stuff. It was called it's the omnibus, which I told Kit to make sure he listens to.
I listened to a lot of that. We watched the Dark Side episode.
Dark Side of the Ring, Hitman Wrestling with Shadows.
I listened to a lot of shoot interviews from guys that were there at the time. So yeah, I mean,
I will also be telling the side of Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig, who were both on Bret's side, because Rick Rude did his famous, "Oh no, we exposed Raw." Because Nitro was live and Raw was not.
He appeared on both shows.
I will be that side.
He appeared on both shows at pretty much the same time, and I'm like, wait, I clicked
but then
on one.
Him and Bret and Kurt, according to Bret's book, and I do believe Bret's book is real, and he was telling the truth, that him, Kurt, Bret, Davey Boy, Owen, and Jim Neidhart, they all hung out with each other. They were all friends.
Yeah,
so I mean, when they screwed Bret, I mean, Rick Rude was pissed, and rightfully so. He this is what Bischoff said, that he said Rick didn't say he didn't ask to come back. He didn't request it. He said, "I'm coming back, Bischoff."
Okay, yeah,
okay, dude.
Yeah, I'm scared. Everybody was scared of Rick Rude, so I was like, "Oh yeah, of course."
And you know what's funny is Rick Rude was such a teddy bear. I mean, according to Kurt, if you ask Kurt Hennig, you know, Rick was a teddy bear.
Yeah, but he had a reputation to uphold, so it's like, I'm coming back, Bischoff. Like, oh, okay, yeah, of course. I mean,
dude.
Don't kick my ass, you know.
Don't kick my ass, dude.
Oh yeah, we'll give you whatever money you want. You'll come back next week. And he was on. I'm like, I'm clicking.
He was
live.
on both. He was on Raw. He was on.
That makes no sense. How's it
Nitro.
both shows? And I realized, Raw's recorded. That's right.
Raw's recorded. They always do a week before.
Yeah, that was filmed the week before.
Wow. I can't wait. That's gonna be cool, man.
Yeah, so we'll get to that tomorrow night, 8:00 Eastern. So, any final thoughts, D, before we go? Because my battery's dying and it's almost dying.
That's all right. I love this. I love enjoying. I love talking to you guys, politics, wrestling, whatever. Follow my podcast as well. The last podcast I did is about O.J. Simpson and the Hood. It's I kind of mentioned. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put it on my Twitter X, whatever it is called, and it's just funny because the white liberal people went on a meltdown when O.J. Simpson was found not guilty in New York City. Just just to be exact. So listen to my podcast. I appreciate it so much. Angel and Witchy.
No problem. We'll see you. Tomorrow. We'll see everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see everybody else.
Everybody tomorrow. Yep.
Much
8 o'clock
love.
Eastern, Pro Wrestling Talk, episode 10. That's already. Wow. And
And
I'm
it's my
gonna-
birthday.
yeah, happy
Yes.
birthday, Steph, and everything's dying on me here. So
Steph,
until
I'm
next
a
time-
DM you, Steph. I need your information. I gotta send you a little gift.
Okay, thank you.
I got you.
All right. So until next time, next week, Angel in the Afternoon, episode 51, same time, same place, and we'll see you guys next week. So have a nice weekend and check out Pro
And
Wrestling
remember,
Talk. And
nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.
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 And I know my battery's dying. Thank you. But yeah,
Let's
we gotta
go.
go.
Much
So
love.
see you
I'm
guys
out.
next week. Peace out.
Peace.